Hi, Andi Deris. Thanks for being with us today. How are you doing?
Very, very good. Thank you very much. There's 2 interviews to go. You're my second last interview for this period. And we just learned for this album, we made over 500 interviews. Can you imagine that?
Okay, yeah, I know.
Brutal.
Okay, I'm glad to talk to you because I am a great fan of you, of your work, of your person, of your art. Of course, I'm a great fan of Helloween. And I'm really, really happy with this new album, this brand new album. And the fans around the world are crazy about it. How do you feel at this moment?
A little bit of a dream.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, when you have an album which appears to be so successful, that's like the dream come true. Um, we had this little pressure because with Pumpkins United, everybody expected something big to come, and we just hope that we fulfill the dream. And yeah, I think me personally, I love the album. We did a nice mixture of 30 years of metal and like a little journey of an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dream come true actually. Now that the album is out on sale finally, we had to postpone it because of COVID. We had to postpone all the tourings. But finally, it's like a big relief to have it out there, let the people listen to the album. And probably it's a good time to release it because we're still in that depressive time. And maybe an album like this gives you some extra power and some light at the end of the tunnel, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. The music is a good way to feel better, and
Yeah.
the music of Halloween is the better way to be better. So I'd like to talk about the lyrics, Andy. The lyrics of Fear of the Fallen. These lyrics are great. I have a friend. His name is Daniel Silveira. He studies philosophy and psychology, and
Okay.
he said that this lyrics has a powerful message. What's the message of these lyrics for you?
Well, I actually intentionally wrote it some 2 years ago, and for me it was uh, the old war between good and evil, and I took this Catholic belief thing, which when evil would overcome and mankind would get more and more into evil spirit or evil things, or even if a great war would come that
Yeah,
that could maybe nearly destroy mankind, there's always a secret group of angels or a group of a power which stands up and
yeah,
helps mankind before it's getting distinguished. And I love this idea because it's for me something that calms me down. And whatever happens in our world, there'll be a higher power which will help good to proceed. And so this is for me something like when I listen to the little Andy, the 6 or 7 years old Andy. It
yeah.
always gave me the peace to know there's a guardian angel, or there are guardian angels who watch over us. And actually, that's the whole thing about it. When you have to decide for good or bad, and sooner we are all in our lives, not only once, but more often in our lives, we see ourselves in that state where we have to decide: do we go for this or for this way? And sometimes we know exactly in our heart that's the wrong way. Sometimes we still go the wrong way because maybe it's more money or it's more power or whatever, but we know it's the wrong way. And in our life, we have not only to decide for right or wrong. I think it's a constant learning process. So I think everybody has to decide. I don't know. I remember I had to decide at least 3 times if I go for left or right, good or bad. There's always this temptation. Most of the time, it's money. Sometimes it's love, where you do the wrong decision. Sometimes it's just power. in a very theoretical way, where you think, okay, you can dominate, you can have power. And these are all decisions we have to make in our lives, not only once. But I think sooner or later, after, let's say, 20 or 30 years on this earth, I think you're an adult, you've seen a lot of things, and sooner or later you have to really decide for a side. When you're old enough, you definitely have to make your mind up, I think, for the rest of your life, where you stand. Do you stand in the brutal bad side, or which is only about money and greed and wealth and standing and, you know, or if you go for that side where you go, okay, I stand for life. For me personally, I hope I decided for life. I realized money is only important if you don't have money. But when you have money, which guarantees you a daily meal and your kids are safe and can go to school and you have a roof over your head, I think you can't ask more of life, because you have everything then. Maybe you got a little car even outside. So you're considered to be a rich guy in this world. But I know there are so many people who do have everything, but still want more and more and more. Then the car is not big enough. It has to be a Mercedes. When you got the Mercedes, it's not big enough. You have to have a Ferrari, and so on and so on. So at the end of the day, where does it stop? Do you really need a Ferrari? It takes you from A to B. That's what a car is there for. So at the end of the day, I make my peace with myself, and I tell myself, okay, even if I have only a little small car outside, but I got a roof over my head, the fridge is filled, my son is healthy, I'm happy. You know, what do I need more? And I think people who look for more and more and more and more are not really satisfied with their life itself. So the whole thing about fear of the fallen is about this system which turns into, we all want to have more and more and more. Even if you got everything, you want to have it better. And when you have the better version of your car or your house or whatever, then you want to have even more, and so on. Where does it stop? So that was the basic idea, where I say, okay, you've got to decide for life or decide for more. And I think that's the bad thing in our world that happens. Everybody wants to have more, even though he has already everything. Now you got like a super nice little guitar in the background, which means you got a guitar you can play with. But then you go like, oh, but there is a Gibson anniversary. I want to have that one. Yeah. Why would you need it? Do you really think you write better songs with a Gibson? You know what I mean? It's
yeah, I know, I got it.
It only costs you 10 times more, but at the end of the day, you will not be more successful. That's I mean, your philosophical friend is completely right. It's about philosophy, but I put it into a fantasy world, so to say.
This is a great lyric, and I like it so much. Yeah. Andy, well, these are 7 members in the band right now, 3 singers, 3 guitar players, and you can get a great album. Yeah. How did you make it possible? Was it challenging for you to make this brand new album?
There were challenging moments. There were challenging pressures built up, mainly from expectations from the outside. But then again, now I would say it was not more pressure and more challenging than every other album we did, because at the end of the day, it's your baby. Whatever baby you produce, you want to have it in the best light and the best sound, and it should be the best songs. You always try that. This time, fortunately, we had a songwriter more in the band, Kai Hansen, who actually from beginning on wanted to take the lead for that long song. So this is a lot of pressure that was taken away from the rest of the songwriters, because we wanted to have one long song in the style of Keeper of the Seven Keys, and present Michael Kiske with it. That was the main idea. And he did a fabulous job here. So and you have to see it's like 12, 13-minute songs. So it's like 3 or 4 songs, actually. You have to put in a lot of work. So challenge, yeah, but not more than always, I would say. Maybe even a little bit, what's the right word? A little bit relieving, because you got Michael Kiske and Kai back in the band. So there was, for me, more a feeling of relief. All the pressure was not on me, or because the last 20 years I was the main songwriter here. For me, it took away a lot of pressure, because I knew Kai will do a fabulous job. I've also listened to some ideas from Waiki, from Michael Wyckoff, and from Sasha, from the guitarist. And so I was completely relieved. So I went into songwriting like a hobby, without too much pressure, because I already knew there are great ideas. So that always takes away a lot of pressure. And so for this album, if you ask Andy, for me it was a challenge as always, but in a positive way. Yeah. I don't see challenges in a negative way, because we talk about our hobby here. So it's our hobby to make music. So how big can a challenge be? So it's your hobby. You always do what you like best. And if you write the right song to the right place at the right time, then that's a coincidence. You cannot force it. So a challenge, I always see it a positive way. Pressure is always something that I try to keep away, because if I make myself pressure, I don't do it out of hobby. So I do it because I have to do it. It's my profession, blah, 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 bullshit. But I think if I would need that pressure, I would not be in a band. I would probably try and found a tech company or something like that. There is pressure, but in a band, I think you should not actually give in to pressure, because it's your hobby. You never may forget that this is your hobby. So go for your hobby, fiddle and diddle, and record the shit that you like, and don't listen to anybody else out there. Just do it the way you always did it.
Okay, but have you realized it, Andy, that the fans are admiring you a lot more than before, because it's a big challenge for you as a musician, as a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, from that point of view, yes. But then again, that's all born because we are hobby musicians who played in a band, and suddenly it became more successful back in the days, and suddenly you had even a record company behind you, and you put your music out. You learned that people are out there who like what you do, and with the years it became more and more people who like the songs you do. And from that point of view, yeah, it's always a challenge, but I would reckon it for more or less a challenge for ourselves. Do we still love music that much that we are able to write great songs? You can only write a great song. For me, I can only write a good song when I really like what I do. And as soon as you put pressure on us, I think the songs will not be good enough. You know, for me, it's all about hobby. That you are now able to live off that hobby, that's another story. But it still should keep the same. I mean, I would never give in to a record company who would, for example, come and say, you have to do a song like this because now the times are like this, so you have to adopt. Then I would say, fuck you. That's not why I'm here. That's not why I started to make music. To listen to somebody like businessmen who think that that song could sell better now because the market is not into whatever metal style, I would definitely tell them to fuck off, you know, because they would destroy my hobby.
Okay. So I think that Nuclear Blast is a good record company for the heavy metal bands. That's good for you.
Yeah, because Nuclear, I think they are, if not the only, but definitely one of only a few record companies where you could say there are metal fans working in a metal company.
Yeah.
You don't need to actually explain them what metal is. They are metal. So it's like you and me working in that company. We
Yeah.
love metal, so we listen to a song and we say I love it or I don't. And there's no need not to trust that guy because he is a metalhead. He's a
Yeah.
metalhead. So you don't need to explain your songs. I mean, we had companies back in the days where you really had to explain yourself.
Yeah.
I imagine you have to explain your music.
Yeah.
And you go like, oh well, I think we have to get the fuck out of here, you know, because when I have to explain my song and my music, then I
Yeah.
definitely know that's not a metalhead. That's a business guy or an accountant.
Yeah.
And I now have to describe what is my music and why are there maybe people out there who buy my music. I mean, imagine that. That's perverted.
Yeah.
I don't. Again, we don't write music because it sells. We write the music because that's what we feel. We write it, and we are in that super happy situation that this music is accepted out there and that there are lots of people who want to listen to that music, but it's not written because we want to please any fucking accountants, you know. so
Yeah. Or
so I think,
lawyers. You don't make music for lawyers. Yeah.
well,
For
we
lawyers
know
approve. Yeah.
definitely not in metal. We know other
Yeah.
music styles do music. They write music just to please the company,
Yeah.
and they have a lot of success. I mean, that's not the point. The accountants know exactly what sells. So they want to make you. They want to that you make that or this or that music, which just is big in television, blah blah blah. And the 14 or 13-year-old girls buy that stuff.
Yeah.
That's one way to make money if we talk about industry. But I think metal or rock and roll, it was the biggest, back in the days, it was the biggest enemy
Yeah.
of that money making thing here, business, because I think the business guys did not even know what's coming here. What is rock and roll? I mean, for them it was noise, and they did not understand that music, even with social lyrics and stuff like that, could even sell, you know, because rock and roll is from street. You can tell the people what you think.
Yeah.
Normally, this is something that people don't want to listen to, because when you talk or sing about problems or sing about a fucked up world or you sing about all the shit that's going down, in no music you may do that, but rock and roll music, and maybe not, maybe there's sometimes some good lyrics in hip hop.
Yeah.
But that's it. I think a little bit of hip hop and mainly metal or rock music is the only music where you actually can tell the people what you really think without being
Yeah.
censored, unless you
Yeah.
don't, unless you use too much fuck and whatever words in your lyrics, then you're censored a little bit, because only guys up from 14 or 16 upwards may buy your record, blah 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 bullshit, which is in itself perverted, because I think when I listen to the 12 years and 13-year-old guys running around here on the street, every second word is fuck.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah,
And
but
let's talk about the brand new album.
mm,
So it is. And first of all, I realized that this album sounds more organic and warm. Do you know what I mean? Uh,
more
what
analog.
was becoming uncommon in power metal bands?
Yeah,
Uh, Power metal bands are sounding very digital.
yeah,
A lot of power metal bands.
yeah.
This brand new album of Helloween is not like this, like a digital power metal band. What do you think about that?
Well, obviously, because we recorded the drums and the bass in Hamburg in the studio with the analog tape machines and with the original mixing desk that was used back in the days for the Keeper albums. We even used the original drum kit from Ingo Schwichtenberg, our past passed away drummer. He passed away in '94. And because we decided to make Pumpkins United and even name the album Helloween, I think it was for us super important to have Ingo in the band spiritually. The spirit of Ingo is there. It's his drums. It's originally recorded on these tape machines where he recorded his last albums in the same studio in Hamburg. So that's what we try to capture. Also with the thing in mind that we wanted to have this old analog sound back into the digital domain. Because when you record something analog, you got the sound. Yeah. And then you can pass it over into digital without destroying it. You got the sound already. So then you can go into digital and go on working in the digital domain, which we did then in my studio here. But everything is recorded analog and the sound is brought onto the digital. So that's probably the secret. Even though I have to mention, it's not fair for our fellow musicians out there to say they should record analog because it sounds so much better. It's definitely a question of the price tag.
I know what you mean.
If you really want to record analog, you easily run into 5 or 6 times more expenses. So that's the sad truth, because analog nearly disappeared. So it's gotten super expensive to record on analog. So I have to say that the majority of the bands out there are excused because simply the budget is not there to record analog. They probably would if they could. I would wish them that they could, because their music would definitely sound better.
Okay. Andy, why did you choose the 2 songs Golden Times and Save My Hide for bonus tracks and not the normal track list of the album?
Yeah, I mean, this is always a decision when you listen to the whole album, and if the majority thinks that this or that song is not really flowing inside the album, you have great songs which actually could be on the album, but you decide to release them as bonus tracks. They were album titles recorded for the album, but to put them on the album would make them a little bit of outstanding songs, maybe kill the flow, maybe not for other people. I mean, it's always, that's subjective. I mean, we had the feeling that the album is already a little bit too long, maybe, but then we decided, okay, we go for 60 plus minutes, and there you go. And these songs are now bonus tracks, and not really obvious bonus tracks. I definitely, you're completely right. But then, for example, I have written Save My Hide as a bonus track. I know it's a good song, but I have to admit that it's very outstanding from the overall style of the main album. So it would be something like a black sheep on the album, or a white sheep, or whatever. So yeah, I think it was the right decision. And they are there. I mean, you know, in the moment you can have it on only on Japanese releases, but you know, in 2 or 3 months' time you can get it everywhere. So it's just a little bit of a delay for the other people to finally have the songs on their iPod or iPhone or whatever, you know.
Okay. There are 2 songs that seem to me, in my opinion, having some unisonic influence, and were neither written by Michael Kiske nor Kai Hansen. They are Best Time and Indestructible. Was it intentional?
No, definitely not. It's
always. But do you agree that sounds with some influence of unisonic or not?
Yeah, because you hear Michael. I mean, you have to see, Michael has such an outstanding, unique voice. Whenever he sings something, it definitely reminds you at Keeper Days or unisonic stuff, because it's Michael, you know. Yes, you're right. I mean, this could have been songs on a unisonic album, definitely,
Yeah,
because they are a bit more. What's the right word for it? I tend to say pop metal,
yeah,
and this is definitely the style Michael was going for on the unisonic albums. It's more pop metal stuff,
yeah,
and yeah. So you're completely right. Definitely, but
yeah.
not intentionally. It's not
And
intentionally been written like that.
and this is not a bad thing. I love Unisonic.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I was in
Okay.
the concerts of Unisonic in São
Yeah.
Paulo. I like so much, but that's not a negative thing, you know.
No, I did not get it like
Yeah,
a negative
yeah,
thing, but
yeah,
I think whenever you have a pop metal song, for example, like
yeah,
Indestructible or like Best Time, and you have Michael's voice on it, it's definitely more into the unisonic thing because that's what he started with unisonic, that
okay,
pop metal thing, which I love because on the other hand,
yeah,
when we go back in time, then I Want Out could have been a unisonic song,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
So funny thing, we built the bridges here, so but not as as you asked, it's not been done intentionally.
okay,
Indestructible was written by Marcus
yeah,
Grosskopf, bass player, and Best Times was written by Sasha and myself.
yeah.
Um, we definitely did not have unisonic in the back of our mind, like, you know. Honestly, I did not have anything in my mind when I've written my songs. So
Okay.
just wanted to please myself.
Okay. Andy, let's follow into the end of our interview. I would like to share a story with you.
Okay.
Okay. In 1996, when Helloween played at Monster of Rock in São Paulo, Philips
Yeah.
Monster of Rock, I talked to you in the backstage.
Okay. Did
Uh,
we?
yeah, but I got a
But
bit.
you had long hair back in the day, eh?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit more. So, but I got a bit nervous and just said those fun quotes, you know. Your voice is very good. You are a great singer. Halloween is great. And my girlfriend, who is now my wife, teases me because that day teases so much.
What?
And finally today I could talk to you a little bit more, even in Deutsch, auf Deutsch,
Of
yeah,
course. Yeah, yeah.
auf Deutsch. And I think my wife will stop teasing me right now, okay?
Okay.
And uh, what do you remember of that first time in São Paulo with Halloween?
Well, that was an unbelievable story because I think we had to jump in for Megadeth.
No, Megadeth in
I think
it's King
no,
Diamond,
yeah, but
King
originally,
Diamond, Motorhead, Iron Maiden,
yeah, Skid
Skid
Row,
Row.
yeah,
I think it's Megadeth. Megadeth will play
but
it.
I think Megadeth was on the posters,
Yeah,
and somebody got sick in Megadeth. I don't know if Dave was sick, don't remember, but we had to jump in, or we had the chance to jump in. So we were asked if we would take the slot of Megadeth. So because we were informed to play 3 days before that.
okay.
So I'd been in Germany. Actually, we thought we have holidays now and nothing is going on. And then we received the call, would you like to play the Monsters of Rock shows? Because this band cannot play because somebody got sick. And I think it was Megadeth and Dave. Because maybe I mix it up because Megadeth and Dave very often got sick. And we very often played instead of Megadeth because Dave got sick. So maybe that was one of these. And maybe it was not Megadeth, maybe I'm wrong here, but there was one band and somebody got sick. They couldn't play. They asked us to go there. 3 days before that, we decided quickly, yes, we're going to do it. And flew to Brazil. And we've never played in Brazil, never. Honestly, we never played in all over South and Central America. We've never played in any country back in the days. And we did not know what to expect because Do they know us there? Is it cool there? And with that feeling, do they know us there? Do they like us? Is it cool there? The first show was in Sao Paulo, Philips, Monsters of Rock, exactly.
Yeah.
And we entered stage and started out with We Burn from the Time of the Oath album. And I swear to God, we did not hear anything anymore because the people were going crazy.
Everybody, I was there. I know.
Yeah, it was such an unbelievable thing for a band to not know what to expect. Do the people know us? And suddenly you are having a welcome, which is the greatest welcome I ever had in my whole history. That you cannot even hear yourself anymore. And we blindly played We Burn. And I remember the first refrain came. We burn, and the whole stadium was singing. I mean, I've never had that. I mean, this was unbelievable. I mean, we still talk about it nowadays because we all had tears in our eyes. It's hard to sing and it's hard to play with tears in your eyes, you know. So it was fantastic. I mean, this is something that you never forget. I'll take it with me into my grave.
Great. And the last question, just one more question, okay? In my channel in YouTube, my channel is entitled Metal Musikast. I make a series of videos explaining every Metallica lyrics and songs. Mm-hmm. I think you like this band, Metallica. Do you like Metallica?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. And I'd like to ask you, what's your favorite Metallica album and why?
Oh, well, I've got two favorites, which I constantly play. I think it's 50-50. It's Master of Puppets and it's the Black Album. Why? Master of Puppets, for me, was the quintessence of metal.
Yeah.
Great songs on it. And as a hobby producer, I really love the Black Album because the sound is incredible. And still there are great songs on it. I mean, not as much as on Puppets, but yeah, definitely pleases me again and again. And when I'm into studio mode, then the Black Album is where you want to go.
Okay. Thank you so much. And thanks once again. It's a pleasure to be with you. Thanks for your time. Would you like to leave a message to your fans?
Yeah, I have to excuse that we're not there, but you know why we're not there. Everything's been postponed twice now. Finally, we at least have the dates for the European tour. Fingers crossed that it takes place next year in March, April. We start, and after the Summer Festivals 22, we'll definitely be in South America. I mean, if they let us play, we're gonna play. So thanks for waiting, and yeah, and hope to have a great fucking time when we're back. I think everybody will probably rock his ass off because we had like 2 years then where we're not able to be on stage or where we couldn't visit a concert. I think we're gonna enjoy the fuck out of it.
Okay, and once again, thank you. I hope see you in São Paulo.
We will.
And vielen Dank. Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao.
This is great Helloween album. Thank you. And pessoal, obrigado a galera que está assistindo aí. Muito obrigado. Espero que vocês tenham gostado. Estamos juntos. Andi Deris. Auf Wiedersehen.
Ciao. Thank you.
Ciao. Thank you.
Ciao.